Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 239, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph on Ravelry and Instagram. Today is Wednesday, April 19th, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. It's a little bit overcast today, so I did not bother putting my window covering up, so hopefully the sun won't decide to come in and glare on us in the middle of the podcast, but we'll deal with it if that happens. And hopefully you cannot hear my whiny puppy who's right outside my door over here. She doesn't know what to do with herself when I shut her out, but if I leave her in here, then she clicky clacks all around the floor the whole time. So she's just going to have to deal with life today. But then we all have to deal with life today, don't we? Yes. So okay, hey, let me say hello to someone who introduced themselves in the welcome thread. It was Melanie, who is from Colorado. So welcome, Melanie. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And I would just like to welcome everybody. If you're a newer viewer, thanks for checking the podcast out, and I hope you'll return if you enjoy what you see, and if you've been watching for a while, it's always good to have you. And I love to read your comments and thoughts. I post my show notes in the Ravelry group. We have a 90% Knitting Ravelry group. And I put an episode thread up every week with the podcast link, or you can watch it straight from the thread. And that's also where I try to always put my show notes with applicable links in there. So you can find me there. We have a Fiber Nymph Dye Works group also on Ravelry. That's specifically for my yarn and my business. There's a Fiber Nymph Dye Works page on Facebook where you can find me. And I post a lot of stuff there for both the podcast and the yarn business. So that's a nice catch-all kind of area. And my shop is at Big Cartel, so that's Fiber Nymph Dye Works at it's fibernymphdyworks.bigcartel.com if you are interested in that. But shop stuff will come later in the podcast. We're going to talk about knitting first. So let's get on with that. I have a little bit of stuff to show you this week. No finished objects this week. It just wasn't a finished object kind of week, but I did make some progress on things. First of all, the Mountain House winter socks, which I really had hoped would be finished objects this week, are not, because the first sock I was working on the heel and it's being a jerk. Plain and simple. So it's sort of in timeout right now. And I told my husband, I said, you'll get these socks eventually, but the heel is being a jerk, and so I'm not talking to it right now. And he just sort of laughed and like, okay, whatever. He gets me, so he understands. So I'm not even going to bother showing you that. I have, however, worked on my hero cardigan, which I did show you that I'd cast on. Which hasn't turned out to be too big of a sweater cast on. I've only cast on 2 sweaters. And the other one I did not work on at all this week, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But the one out of the Plutolopi. But okay, wow, I've got needles sticking everywhere here. Hang on. Yikes. Okay, so it is bigger than what you saw last time. So it's about, I don't know, I haven't measured it, but I'm going to say it's probably about 8 inches long. You might be able to see light through that fabric. Yeah, it's a little bit loose. I did not do a gauge swatch for this. I know, bad knitter. But I just decided I was going to wing it. I'm using Letlopi, which is the somewhat lighter Lopi yarn. So here's Letlopi. Whoops. Okay, there we go. I know, it's little tags wanting to come off. This is a colorwork sweater, if you're not familiar with it. The hero cardigan is colorwork. Let's see. Well, there's the top part of it anyway. So the top part is colorwork. It's a colorwork yoke. And then the whole bottom part is just stockinette. I started this on US 7s, and I can't remember if the pattern said to use US 7s or, I don't know. It said 8s. Oh, 6s and 8s, but I don't know. I couldn't find my 6s, and so I just started with 7s. I thought I'll use 7s. And since I knew that the fabric was probably going to be loose, because I tend to be a loose knitter, I just stuck with the 7s. I should have probably started with 5s. I mentioned this last week, I'm pretty sure. If I was thinking, I would have started with 5s for the ribbing and then moved on to 7s for the body. However, one thing I meant to mention last week, and I did not, in talking about the bottom band, which I'm doing in ribbing. This is not how the pattern says to do this. The bottom band, you're supposed to do a provisional cast on, and then you knit a couple of inches. I can't remember if it's knit or if it's ribbed. I don't remember. You do a turning row, and then you knit, and then you like join them. So it's like a folded over bottom. I wasn't doing that. I have nothing against that. I just was not in the mood for that. Didn't want to do that fiddliness. So I just did ribbing, which is fine. I'm happy with ribbing. But usually I would do my ribbing on a smaller needle than I'm doing the body of the sweater. And I didn't do that, and I don't care. It'll be fine. This is such a squishy, furry yarn. I have the feeling that whenever this is soaked and blocked, it's going to poof up a little bit and fill in. However, once I finally got a good bit of the stockinette done, I did stop and measure gauge. And I'm about a half a stitch per inch over, which is a substantial amount to be over. So then I measured the whole width of the cardigan at this point, and it's measuring 50 inches when it's laid out flat. I put it on across a couple of needles, laid it out flat, and it's measuring 50 inches. That's a little bit big. Now, I like my cardigans to be roomy and have a good bit of positive ease from like the bust down, because I carry weight across my tummy. I've told you that. That's like in the front. That's where I carry my weight. So I like having room there. But that's a little excessive even for me. So what I've started doing now, and I've probably only done it for the last inch, is I've reverted to what I had been doing for my antler cardigan, where I'm knitting on one size needle and I'm purling back on a smaller size needle. So that's why I have all these extra needles at the moment. So I'm knitting on the 7s and I'm purling back using 5s. So that's what's in here, because I just did a purl row. And if this works the same way it did for my antler cardigan, it's going to bring my gauge in nicely to get a little tighter fabric. So I'm going to do this for a couple of inches this way, and then I will measure again and see how things are going. The other thing I'm probably going to do is some decrease rounds or rows. I could do waist shaping. I realize I could do waist shaping. However, I don't think I want to. I don't really want a defined waist shape, if that makes sense. I would rather just do a round where I'm decreasing like an inch worth of stitches and then knit another inch and then maybe do another decrease round, so that I can take it down to closer to the 48 inches that I'm knitting on, that I'm supposed to be knitting. I'm doing the 40, I think it's 48. The 48 inch size for the body, and then I'm going to decrease for the next size down. Yeah, that's 48. Then I'm going to decrease for the size 45 for the yoke, but I'm going to do the yoke on larger needles so that it should even out. This makes sense in my head. I hope it makes sense to you too. But I think that will give me the best fit, because once I get up to the shoulders, I can't do the bigger size. It's just way too big, and it'll be roomy and it'll bug me and I won't like it. So I need to go down to the smaller size sweater, but I definitely need to do some decreasing in the body so it's not so dramatically large. So that's my plan at the moment. And I have put a good bit of work into this. What were we doing? Oh, we watched, oh, Bill wanted to watch Out of Africa the other night. I had never seen Out of Africa. I can't say I'm ever going to watch it again, because I thought it was a very depressing and sad movie. Blah. I did not enjoy it. But I knit through the whole thing, and I pretty much knit an entire ball. I'm on the 3rd ball of yarn now. So this, I've gotten through 2 balls of the Let Lopi. This is the 3rd, so I'm probably about halfway into the 3rd one, maybe not, well, maybe a third of the way into the 3rd. But it's coming along, and I'm enjoying it. It's really kind of boring to look at right now, because it's just a big gray blob, and my needles keep falling off. It's a very slippery yarn, I will say that. So the needles just slip off quite easily, but because it's a sticky yarn, they don't go, the stitches don't go anywhere. They just stay put. So it's easy to slip them back on. So that is the Hero. H-I-R-O, not H-E-R-O, in case you're wondering. So, and that's by Julia Farwell Clay. She is the designer of that. So that's the sweater that's been getting the most attention. I've not knit any more on my Rusty cardigan, which is the one that I'm doing out of the Plotulopi. I can't remember if I mentioned last week or not. I had been working on it, and I did break the yarn once, only because I was knitting it at night. I was in bed, like not in the middle of the night, but you know, before we went to sleep, I was sitting in bed knitting it, and we were watching the news or something, and I was not paying attention to the slack in my working yarn, and I'm winding it off from the outside of those plates, or the plate of the Plotulopi, because if you remember, that's the unspun singles yarn, so it's very fragile before it's knit. Once it's knit, it's nice and strong. So I did actually pull it just enough in the course of knitting, and it broke. But you know what? I spit joined it and went right on knitting, and it was fine, because again, it's a very sticky yarn. It's the Icelandic yarn, and it's perfect for that kind of thing. So it's fine. I just haven't had time to really work on it. I want to work on it because I love the color of the yarn, and I think it's really pretty, and it's interesting yarn, but I do have to pay attention when I'm knitting with that. I have to go slowly to keep my tension loose so that I don't inadvertently pull that yarn apart. It's not been a big issue, but it is something I have to pay attention to, so I just haven't had time to work on that anymore. What I did work a good bit on this week, though, here's the bag with the socks that are in timeout. We're just not even going to talk to them. Not going to reward bad behavior. Okay, the other thing that I did work a good bit on this week was my Find Your Fade, which has not been seeing much action lately, but I picked it up and decided I wanted to work on it. It's getting so big. I'm still in the 5th color, but I'm nearing the end of it. I'm in the lace section of the 5th color. Where's the other end of my needle? Here it is. Okay. It's really hard to... I have fuzzies in my mouth now from playing with that Icelandic. Here it is. This is the front. So you can see my lace. I have one more repeat of the lace to do, and then I'll be moving into the melt part for the 6th color. So I'm very excited about that, and hopefully that will happen soon. I do not think this will be done in time for my show next weekend on the 29th again, but I'll still bring it like I did to my last show and have it as a sample, because it does show off the yarns quite nicely, and it's so big right now. It's just amazing. I love how long it is. I mean, even like as I'm working on it now, I can kind of just cover my legs up with it if I'm on the couch. So anyway, this is the Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. I haven't been seeing quite as many of these on social media now, so I don't know if everybody else has finished theirs and I'm just a slacker or what. Or maybe they've given up on them, because I know some people have given up on them. My yarn is attacking other things here. Sorry. So yeah, this is all I've got left of this color, and I still have a good bit to go. So I think the 5th color is maybe the one that you use the most yarn of, and then the last 2 kind of start decreasing. And I don't even have the pattern sitting here. It's sitting out in the living room. Actually, you know what? Maybe this is what I knit on during... No. It may have been. I may have knit on this while I was watching the movie the other night. Actually, you know what? It was this, because I finished the garter stitch section in color 5, and I started in on the lace section, but I totally didn't even look at the pattern. I was a little too cocky, and I thought, oh, I remember how to do this, and I totally did the first row wrong, and I got about 3/4 of the way through the first lace row, realized I was doing it wrong, tinked back, and then sat it down and just sat and watched the rest of the sad, depressing movie. Yeah, I did have a big chunk of time, though, whenever I was working on the Hero, and now I can't remember what I was doing. I don't know. Maybe it was just when I was sitting around talking with my husband or something this week. I don't remember. But anyway, progress. So my next color will be this, which is on my bounce base. This is Runaway, one of my Antigua collection colors. So getting a little blown out there in the light as usual. Okay, I just need you to, oh my gosh, hold on a minute. We've got yarn down and I need to pick it up before I have a mess. Oh goodness. All right, I'm just gonna wind this back up. I am in a weird mood today. Can you tell? I'm a little off today. I'm not sure what's going on. All right. So I worked on that. The other thing I worked on, which is kind of funny because I haven't worked on this in eons, is my hand-spun Afghan. My hand-spun log cabin Afghan squares. I found this bag sitting over on the side of my office the other day. I was going through stuff and cleaning things up and everything, and I opened it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's in here. Because I had just been carrying this around for a while. I had a bunch of different hand-spun balls in here and the needles, and there was a square sitting on top, which I do not have in here with me, and I thought it was still in progress, and it wasn't. It was completely finished. So I'm like, oh, cool, it's another one. I need to put it with the rest. But since it was out, I decided to just cast on another one. I love doing these. They're simple, they're fast, they're nice, just, you know, if you're not in the mood to really knit on anything super serious. So I'm just doing, you know, the log cabin pattern where I'm starting with a little garter stitch square and then doing 3 like log rounds out in hand spun, and I'm trying to use up as much of my hand spun as I can, like worsted weightish hand spun. So I'm to the point now where I'm probably not going to get entire, like this is what I have left of this yarn that I started with. This is probably not going to give me a full square, so I'm going to just add this. The colors will go just fine. I still have plenty of hand spun to work with, but I'm trying to use up small bits of hand spun that I've got for the Afghan square. So, you know, I can't remember how many squares I have. Maybe around 20, 25, something like that. That might be an optimistic estimate, but I mean, this is obviously one of those long-term projects that I'm just going to work on when I feel like it, when I find the bag and say, oh yeah, that's what's in there. It's a fun project. It's just, you know, there's only so much time. So that's all I worked on this week. No other knitting. I did spin a little bit more. I spun on the second half of the Tempted Merino on my Traveler up at the Mountain House. It's still lovely and beautiful. I'm enjoying it, but again, it's merino, super fine merino, and it's going very slow because it wants to be spun very fine. So, but it's coming along. So hang in there, prize winner. You're going to get your yarn yet. Honest. Oh, speaking of prize winners, let's talk about the Cal a little bit. A year in the life of a knitter Cal. We are in April. I have heard from all of the winter, the first quarter and March winners now. All the prizes, I believe, are out in the mail. People should have them soon, if not already. So that's taken care of. But we are in spring. It's April. Spring is April, May, June. Growth, life, and light are our themes. Our April focus is sport weight yarn, and our April challenge is shorty and sporty. So making shorty socks, cuff can't be any more than 2 inches high, out of sport weight yarn. So if you want to do that, and I did see that we do have entries. As of last week whenever I was recording, we did not have any entries in there yet. Let's see how many entries are in there now. I think there are 3. Yep, 1, 2, 3. So awesome. I love seeing your socks. Okay, so that is everything for the Cal. All of the guidelines for the challenge and for the Cal itself, they're all online in the Ravelry group. If you have any questions about them, just, you know, PM me or ask in the episode thread or ask in the general, the guidelines thread for the Cal. Wherever I can get you up to speed if you need to know. But there's still plenty of time to join in because it's a year-long Cal, and it's mostly meant to be fun and You know, not a lot of guidelines, not a lot of hard and fast rules you have to follow. The challenges do have hard and fast rules that need to be followed, but just to join us for the knit along, you know, as long as you can somehow rationalize whatever you're working on to fall in the categories or the themes of growth and life and light and spring, you're golden. You're right in there. Okay, let's talk about some new things because I have new things to show you this week. I posted a picture to Instagram the other day saying that the image that I was posting was sort of like what you get whenever you've got this Venn diagram of these various things coming together, one of which would be Webs having a sale, one of which would be getting my tax refund. One of which, I forget what the other things were, but, you know, basically I fell down hard on Webs. Obviously, I did not spend my entire tax return there. I could have, no, but I didn't. I was good. But I thought, you know what? I have been looking at these colorways, and you know I love Cascade 220 Heathers. Like, my favorite commercial yarn, at least one of them. Currently, it's my current top favorite. And I had been looking at colorways that I knew I wanted to get for sweater lots a while ago when they had a sale, and I didn't. And now they're having their anniversary sale, which I think runs April and May. But right now in April, the Cascade 220 is all, it's like, I don't know, maybe 30% off, because it's usually 9 something, and right now it's 6 something a skein. So I got in there and I had like 5 sweater lots of yarn picked out, which is ridiculous. And I did not buy 5 sweater lots, but I did buy 3 sweater lots. So allow me to show you what colors I chose. Here they are. I love these colors. This one and this one, I do not have specific projects picked out for them yet, and I'll tell you the colors. This one's 24-25. I know there's an actual color like listed on Webs. I don't know what it is though. So this is number 24-25, and this one is number 24-48. Isn't that beautiful? This is like, oh, it's a deep blue. Like if I hold it back here, this is the blue, and this is like this orangey red, like this really earthy red orange. It's wonderful. It's kind of got a little bit of like heathered gold into it. I don't know. Then there's this one, which I think is called Straw on the website. It's 4010. I've used this color so many times for different projects. I love it. I have part of a ball up in my Cascade 220 basket here. I'm going to show you. You've seen it before. But right there, that is a basket full of Cascade 220. Okay, I'm going to see if I can put you back on here now without, okay. And actually, all 3 of these colors I do have some of. I actually have 2 full skeins of this up there, and I have 1 skein each of these other 2 colors, which was kind of what made me want more because I knew I wanted to do sweaters out of them. So I bought enough, I think I bought 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I bought 6 of this and 6 of this. So I have 7 of each, and then I bought 5 more of this. So I have 7 of all of these. I thought, you know, I know there's the issue with color lot, dye lots, and they might be a little different, and they are each a little different. But I figure they'll probably be okay as long as I, you know, alternate skeins, or maybe just use the ones that, the single skeins for sleeves or something like that. I don't know. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. But anyway, this one I do have a plan for. And if you remember, a while back I showed you the Into the Pines pullover sweater. It's got those cabled pine motifs at the bottom, right above the bottom band, and it's this nice wide V-neck. When I got that pattern originally, I mean, I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, but when I purchased it, I was intent on getting the right green yarn. I wanted the perfect green yarn for it because it was pine trees and I felt like it really needed to be green, but I could not find the perfect green. And then I realized this is going to be the perfect color to make that, because this is the color of pine, some pine needles in the fall, like tamaracks. Their needles, like most pine trees, are evergreens. They don't, you know, lose their needles in the fall. But tamaracks do, and they turn this really pretty golden color before they shed, and they're beautiful. And I think this is the perfect color for that sweater. So that is what this is going to be, and I may cast this on in the not too distant future. So that was what I fell down hard on at Webb's with their sale. And I also picked up a set of US 6 needles because I can never find them. I bought 32 inches, and these are Addi Turbo Rockets. These were also on sale. I've never used their rockets. I know a lot of people use the sock rocket needles. I've never used those. They're basically, I think, just pointier than regular Addis. And I almost bought a pair of sock needles to try the sock rockets, but then I remembered the sizing issue, and they don't have true US ones, so I did not bother with that. But these will probably be used for my sweater ribbing whenever I decide to cast that on. So I'll let you know how I like them. So there was that, and then I also got something else, yarny. My friend Sarah, Sarah Jordan, she has recently started her own Etsy shop, and it's called Fluvial Fibers Handspun, Yarns from the Three Rivers, because she lives here in Pittsburgh. So this is her card attached to the yarn, and she is a fabulous spinner, and she spins just lovely, lovely yarns, and so she's opened a shop with her hand spun. And I had to get some because I think Sarah is awesome, and I really wanted to support her shop. And I love hand spun. I love spinning my own hand spun, and I love knitting with my hand spun. But there is something about knitting with the hand spun of another spinner that is just, especially a really excellent spinner, you know, is just very rewarding. You know, I love that because I know what goes into spinning something. You know, I know the work and the time. And so to take that creation that's a piece of art in and of itself and then create something with it, it's just a different process. And so I was really excited. And these are so my colors. Oh my gosh, look at these beautiful colors. This is Columbia wool. 349 yards. It's not superwash. And I would say, I'm not sure, I can't remember what she had it labeled as. I'm going to say it's probably about a fingering weight, maybe a heavy fingering weight. I don't know. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Right now, it's just going to be loved and squished by me because it's beautiful. CFM Columbia. Eye of the Tiger is the color that she called it. So anyway, so this is a new thing, and it's squishable and lovely, and I love it, love it, love it. Okay, the other new thing that I have that I want to show you is not at all knitting related, so we're kind of veering into 10%, and it's not even something for me, but I just want to show it to you because it's beautiful. My husband's birthday is coming up, and he is impossible for me to shop for a lot of times because he's a guy that, what do you get? The guy who has everything. Because if he doesn't have it, he usually goes and gets it himself. So it's a challenge sometimes to get him really good stuff. And I often buy him books or artwork because he appreciates those things. But to read, like if it's a book that I know he wants to read, he just doesn't have a lot of time to just sit and read. So I buy him books and then they sit in the office on the bookshelf or whatever. And artwork is great too. He appreciates it and we can both enjoy it. But we don't have a lot of space right now for more artwork because our walls are quite full. So, you know, I pay attention whenever he says things like, oh, you know, I'd really like to have something, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I make a mental note, but a lot of times it's not something that I could actually just go out and buy anyway, so that's not all that helpful. Well, recently he had been talking about this World Atlas, which he has, and he had brought it out. We were looking something up. I can't remember what we were looking up. But it's quite old, and he's like, I'd really love to have a newer, you know, the updated version of this, but it's really expensive and everything. He says, this is fine, and so I made this mental note, Atlas. I could get him this Atlas for his birthday. So in the course of looking online for the Atlas, I somehow ended up finding this other book I did not end up getting the atlas, but I came across this other book and I thought, oh my gosh, he would love this. And I love it. And I haven't gone through the whole thing because it's gigantic. Look how thick it is. It's a big, heavy, heavy hardback book. It's called The Enigma of the Owl, An Illustrated Natural History by Mike Unwin and David Tippling. It is beautiful. This is a photograph. It's not a painting. It looks like a painting, but it's not. Here's another one on the back cover. The photographs in this book are just stunning. Bill loves nature and he loves owls. And when I saw this book, I just knew that he needed this book. I wanted this book too, but he will love this book. And I just, you know, I pick it up and I start looking through it. And it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, look at it. Just look at these pictures. I mean, I know they're not going to be as lovely to you on the screen as they are to me looking at them, but this book is full. I think it's like over 200 pictures of owls. Look at this guy. Isn't he beautiful? Oh my goodness. Where, oh, this one, I love this one because I know how the person had to have taken it. The photographer had to have been laying in this high grass waiting for an owl to fly over to get this image. Look at this. Is that not just stunning? It leaves me speechless. I just start looking through it and flipping through it and I think, oh my gosh, these are beautiful. So anyway, I mean, there's obviously a lot of text. There's history about owls and there's just, like I said, tons and tons of pictures of owls that are just so adorable. Look at that guy. Isn't that cute? I think owls are the funniest little things. They're so pretty and so mysterious and just, I don't know. Anyway, I could sit here for the next hour and show you pictures of owls, but I'm not going to because that would probably be boring for you. But oh my gosh, I have to stop flipping through the book now. Anyway, so he's getting this book for his birthday, but I thought it's not really a lot. So I had this idea. It might be a crazy idea because his birthday is in a little over a week away. Of knitting him an owl to go with it. And I remembered watching Tilly Trout on her podcast quite a while ago that she had knit this big stuffed owl. So I went to her page and saw the owl and found the pattern. And I could do it because it's done on heavy yarn. And I may try. I may knit him an owl to go with the owl book. And I'm going to make him homemade carrot cake for his birthday because he loves carrot cake. So that may be his birthday. But yeah, I just had to share that book with you. It's so pretty. I don't have the words to describe how lovely the illustrations, the photography is in that book. Just amazing. So if you have an owl lover in your life, or if you're an owl lover, check out that book. I had a hard time finding it, actually. It was sold out on Amazon. I ended up ordering it through Target, actually. I got it from Target. And the price was a little higher than on Amazon, but it was worth it because I know he's going to love it. Okay, so let's move into the rest of 10%. Excuse me. Big thing in the last week, our building was delivered. Yay. Our new building that we had been working on that site for. It came last Friday. I will insert some pictures here so you can see it. 12 by 28 building coming in on this truck. I had to stand up on the road and be like a flag person. Literally, I had the flag stopping traffic because they had to back down our driveway, which is an insane driveway to try to do. It took them quite a while, probably about a half hour to get maneuvered around to get in the driveway, and then more time to get it backed up into the part of our driveway, the front part of the driveway where the site was set at the end. It was quite an ordeal, but we got it in, and it's lovely and big and so much space that will, fill up super fast because that's what empty space does. But right now we're working on outfitting it. Matter of fact, the same day that it was delivered, because Bill took half a day's vacation last Friday for when they were delivering it. And as soon as they left, he was out there putting gutters up on it because it was supposed to rain pretty hard the next day. And if we didn't have gutters on it, then it was going to just, water would run off and, you know, make a mess. So we have the gutters up, gutters and downspouts. They're all done. So now we have to move on to the inside because we need to put a lot of, well, he's going to wire it for lights and electricity and everything first. And then he bought the hardware so that we have the hardware to outfit to hang the boats because we're going to hang our 3 longest canoes in there. So they'll be in there. We have another window that's going in the back of the building. So that has to be done as before we really fill the building up. So a lot of things have to take place prior to being able to move everything off of the porch into the building for us to be able to start the demolition process of the front porch, which will then be rebuilt into my studio. But that is a long bit of a process. And right now we are also, I mean, he's still trying to work in my basement. So it's supposed to rain a lot this weekend, I think. So I think this might be a basement working week. We did go and we got the rest of the materials, most of the rest of the materials, so he can finish the ceiling in my basement. So we'll see. That's just, there's no shortage of stuff to be working on, but the building is here. So that was a huge milestone in this process. Another new thing, which I was not expecting to have as a new thing this week or anytime soon. As you know, I got my motorcycle license last fall, right? And I've been riding this little trail bike, which is what I've been learning, you know, to actually ride a motorcycle on, like the gears and the clutch and all that. And then I also have a scooter, which if you don't know the difference, because I didn't know the difference before I met Bill and he taught me the difference. Scooters are actually different than motorcycles. I mean, they're still on 2 wheels, but they're like if you think of like a Vespa, most people know what a Vespa looks like. That's a scooter. But the one I have is not a Vespa. It's a much bigger, more substantial bike with more power. But you step through a scooter as opposed to having to put your leg over like you do with a motorcycle. And scooters are automatic, so you're not switching gears. You're not using a clutch. It's just all like throttle and brakes. That's all it is. And it's really nice. It's nice to ride. It's comfortable. I can like take it on the turnpike to bring, you know, come here from the mountains and everything. But it's a different animal than riding a motorcycle. We don't currently have a motorcycle in our stable of motorcycles that would be appropriate for me to ride other than that little trail bike. And that little trail bike is not appropriate for me to ride from the mountains to here. It's just not meant for that kind of riding. You can ride it on the road, but it's not meant for that. So for months, he's been talking about, you need a bigger bike. You know, we need to get you a bigger bike so that you can ride, you know, on the road, you know, more comfortably and everything. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm not in a huge hurry to get a bigger bike because it was only last fall, like towards the end of the riding season, that I finally started to get comfortable on the little bike and wasn't falling over all the time. You know, and now I've spent all winter not riding it, and I still haven't been on it this spring yet, and I need to get back to it so that I can get comfortable with it again. But anyway, he's constantly looking at Craigslist and eBay and stuff. You know, he looks for deals on bikes anyway, you know, because he's found good deals occasionally. He'll buy a bike just to clean it up, do some maintenance on it, fix something little, and turn it around and make a profit. You know, he flips bikes like that a lot. Or at least he has in the past. He hasn't had time to do that much lately. But anyway, so he's been on the lookout for, you know, a good bike for me, you know, an older one that, you know, has already depreciated and is the right price, but would still be something that I would want to ride. So every once in a while I get these texts from him during the day, and he sends me a link to something. Here, look at this one. What do you think about this one? And usually I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a point of reference. Usually I comment on the color. It's like, ew, I don't really like that color, which is not at all at the top of his priority list for a motorcycle. So anyway, yesterday he sent me a text. He's like, I just sent you an email to a Craigslist listing. Look at it. Tell me what you think. And I'm like, eh. That's what I wrote back. I'm like, meh. I said, it doesn't really do anything for me in the pictures. And honestly, the pictures were horrible. I don't know why people who list things for sale put horrible pictures up. Like this guy took the pictures in his garage. The lighting was terrible. The angles were off. But anyway, long story short, you know, Bill's like, well, here's all the good points about this. And it's a really good buy for that price and all the extras that already are on it. He's like, it would be really good for you. Plus, you know, it's got enough safety stuff on it that if you dropped it, you really wouldn't break much. And I'm thinking, I said to him, I love that you think about that as a criteria for getting a bike for me. Well, if you fall, because I do, hopefully I won't though. So anyway, he's like, I'm going to look at this bike at 7 o'clock. Do you want to go with me? And I'm like, sure. And it was in Morgantown. That was the other thing. So it was a hike for us, a couple of hours. So that's what we did. We went to Morgantown last night and we looked at this bike. He took it for a test drive. And I did actually like it a lot more in person than I had in the pictures. And he came back and he's like, it's great. It rides great. He says, I think this would be perfect for you. You'll like it. It's not too heavy. And it wasn't too heavy. I did not ride it. I wasn't getting on a bike that wasn't mine. But just sitting on it and, you know, moving it, you know, tilting it and stuff, I could tell it looks huge. And I'll put a picture in here. It looks big, but it's not nearly as heavy as it looks. So I'm actually excited about this. We brought this bike home and I am excited to move up into it. Hopefully soon, but I have to get on that littler one first and get back in that swing of things because I've been riding the scooter the last couple of days, both days, yesterday and today. I rode it from the mountain house to here and back, which yesterday I was nervous because it was only the second time this year I'd ridden it, and I just, you know, I wasn't comfortably up. Today I was fine. I felt really good about it. And I rode in the rain today for the first time. It was not supposed to rain, but it started sprinkling right before I got home. So anyway, that's new. More on that as things progress. But yay, I have a new motorcycle apparently. What else? Oh, you know what? I found this really cool thing. Maybe you guys already know about this, and this is about books. I'm still listening to that Power of Vulnerability thing by Brené Brown. I haven't finished it yet, but I needed to like listen to something happier because that is not that that's not happy, but it's like really deep and thought-provoking, and I needed something light. And so I was looking for a book to read, you know, listen to. I needed a new Audible book, and a friend of mine had been reading The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. Maybe you've heard of it. I can't remember who the author is. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll look at that one. And so I got on Audible and I found it, but it was said, you can listen to this through chapters. I had never heard of chapters. Have you heard of chapters? Apparently, if you're on Audible and you have an Amazon Prime account, you can listen to all these books and lectures and comedy routine, all this stuff free. Like, you don't have to actually buy it with an Audible credit. You can just listen to it. And some of the stuff is downloadable. The books I do not believe are. But this particular book, this 100-Year-Old Man book, was on there, and I could just listen to it for free as long as I was on Wi-Fi. You know, I didn't want to listen to it not on Wi-Fi because I would have, you know, that would be streaming a lot of audio and eat up data. But I was at the house and I was working, and so I've been listening to that book. It's been awesome, and it is a really good book. It's funny in a very subtle kind of way. I've been enjoying it, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Look into that. I had to update my Audible app in order to access chapters. So if you have an older version of Audible, you might need to do that. But yeah. Free books. I'm all about that because I go through listening material like crazy cakes. Okay, I think that is everything that I've got for you so far. I do have a shop news segment that I'm going to do in a moment, but I'm going to pause because I need to go grab some stuff. But if you're not going to stick around for that, that's fine. I appreciate you watching so far. But if you are, I do have a preview of what's going to be in the shop on Friday, the 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern. So hang on, and I will be right back. Hi, I'm back. This is the shop news section of the podcast, and I will be showing some stuff that will be going up in the update on Friday, the 21st at 6 p.m. So, First, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who pre-ordered the anniversary colorway, the Never Not Color colorway. I will be getting that dyed up and shipped out as promised within the next 4 to 6 weeks. So thank you so much for that. I may end up, if I have extras, I will put those in the shop at that time, but otherwise that's going to be an exclusive colorway probably until next year's anniversary time. So. And also, thank you to everybody who joined the Barber Pole Fiber Club. Sign-ups for that closed this morning at 9 o'clock, so I believe we have 18 members in the club, so that's exciting. I can't wait to start dyeing up that fiber for you guys. And news about, or information about the Myths and Legends Striping Heavyweight Yarn Club, which that is not the official title. I will put a much more streamlined name to it. That will be forthcoming in the next week or so, couple weeks. I don't know. I can't remember what day I said I was going to do that. But you can be looking for that to be coming soon. Okay, just a couple of things upcoming to mention to you. I've mentioned before that I will be vending at a local show here, local to me, which is up in Delmont, PA, which is just out the road about 10 miles maybe. It's on Saturday, the 29th. I'm sorry, my contacts are really dried out, so I'm like blinking a lot. The 29th of April, and that is the Rags Fiber Affair and Wool Market from 10 to 3. That's Saturday. So if you are in the area, please stop by. I'm really excited. I actually was called by a reporter from our local paper. They're doing a feature on the show the other day, so I was interviewed. So that should be interesting. I'm used to being on the other side of interviews because I used to be, you know, a writer, a freelance writer, and I used to do a reporting too for one of our other local papers, and a long, long, long time ago. I'm just not used to being on the interviewee side, so that was a little weird. Anyway, the other upcoming thing, and this is new and it's very exciting from a business perspective for me, is I am going to be going to TNNA this year. If you aren't familiar with what TNNA is, it's the industry organization for basically yarn and knitting and things like that. It's called the National Needleworks Association, is what TNNA stands for. And I'm now a member of TNNA, which is also very exciting. And so I will be getting to go to that trade show in Columbus in June, and I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, it's something that's been on my radar that I've wanted to do for a while in an effort to, you know, grow my business and branch out into new things. So that will be a really good way for me to learn about new stuff that I can incorporate into my business and maybe take some classes. And I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be a good personal growth, I think. Personal growth for me and business growth for my business. So I'll tell you more about that as things happen. Okay, so the next update will be on Friday, the 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to show you what's going up. It's going to be a fairly small update, but it's got some things in it that I've been promising for a while, and I've finally gotten to dye them. And that is 2 new Star Wars inspired colorways. So these are not based on any specific movie. They're more of a general thing, but I've just had this idea and I've wanted to do it, and I'm really excited to show you. So, you know, in Star Wars you have the dark side, you know, Darth Vader and the bad guys. And then you've got what I will term the light side, the Jedis, the doers of good. And so that is what I wanted to recreate or create in yarn form. So we have the dark side and we have the light side. So let me tell you about them. Obviously the dark side, you've got this base color of black, and the light side obviously has the base color of white or the undyed yarn. And then you've got the smaller stripes. This is self-striping, by the way. So in the dark side, we've got 2 different colors of blue. So let's see if we can get here. I'm going to put the light side down for a minute. We'll just focus on the dark side. So there are 2 different small blue stripes, and those represent the blue colors in the Force Lightning, you know. And then red is the color of the lightsabers that most of the dark side guys have. So Darth Vader's lightsaber is red. So dark side. Light side. So you've got the Jedis. So here we have small stripes in this blue and this green representing the two most prominent colors in Jedi lightsabers. I know there's some other ones, and they're not necessarily in the basic canon of Star Wars. I think they're more in other like fan fiction-y or other kind of stories where there's other colors of lightsabers. I was going with the basic lightsaber colors here. So we've got the blue and the green, and then we've got this light brown color, which is the color of the Jedi cloaks. So light side, dark side. We've got them on Bounce, and we've got them on Bedazzled. What will also be in the shop, there will be 2 of each color. So 2 on Bounce, 2 on Bedazzled for the dark side, 2 on Bounce, 2 on Bedazzled of the light side in the shop. What there will also be is I have some that I'm going to split into half skeins. So they will kind of be like inversible sets, and you will get a set that has a half a skein of the light side and a half a skein of the dark side, because I think it would be really cool to have a pair of socks where you have a light side foot and a dark side foot. I'm weird, maybe nobody else will be into that, but I think it was a fun idea. So those will all be in the shop, and the half skein sets, those will be in Bounce, not Bedazzled. So there will be, I think, 2 sets of those. Yes. In addition, I have more of Awakening, which is inspired by The Force Awakens. So I will have some of that, I think 3 skeins on Bounce, 2 skeins on Traveler, which is the sport weight base. What I don't have, as I said last week, I think, I do not yet have colorways that I want to do based on or inspired by Rogue One, because I had not gotten a chance to rewatch Rogue One. However, my son bought me Rogue One for Easter this past weekend. So I have now gotten to see Rogue One again. I still want to watch it again. I just love the movie, number 1. But number 2, I need to watch it at least one more time to really nail these colors down that I want to do. So stay tuned. Those will eventually be coming, but not in this update. So 2 new colorways is enough in one update, right? I think so. Okay, so in addition to those Star Wars colorways, I have done some inversibles for the shop. It's been a while since I've put inversibles into the shop other than like things I've had left over from shows or whatever. And I was really on a bright dyeing yarn kick this past week. So I've got some really bright inversible colorways for you. So this one, and these are also some newer dyes that I have just from recently. And this is going to blow out. Let me move my light a little bit. The bright colors really always blow out. Oh no, this one's coming unraveled here. Let me twist this guy up again. Okay, this set that I'm going to show you, this is a deep red. It's a new red dye that I just got recently, and I really like it. It's sort of like a deep cherry kind of red. It's got that, it's not an orange red by any stretch. It's a deeper cherrier red. So I'm going to call it deep red, and this bright orange. So that is one set of inversibles, and there will be 2 sets of each of these inversible sets. And then this one, we have electric pink and radioactive green, like toxic green. So there's that set. If I hold them back here, you can see the colors a little more true. And then the 3rd set is my Aqua Shock color, which is one of my favorite blue dyes that I have, and electric purple. I may have done this color combination before, actually, but I really like it. So 3 different inversible sets for you in nice bright colors. And because I was still on the brights kick, I have mini sets for you out of brights. Like if you wanted to buy a set of highlighters except in yarn, this is what you would buy. These are awesome. I was playing with them. I was putting pictures up on Instagram the other day of these. So I will have sets both in Bounce, this is on Bounce, and in Bedazzled. And these will each have 6 colors, 6 of the bright, bright colors, 20-gram skeins, so 120 grams total, which is yardage 400 and, hang on, I have to do the math, 480 yards. So, 480 yard sets. So we have, again, they're blowing out because they're bright on their own and they don't need the extra light. And I've got light coming in the window now. So there will be fuchsia. This is actually like a really bright rainbow is what it is. So we have fuchsia or electric pink, the really bright orange, really bright yellow. This is the one I dye up and I call pickle juice. So bright yellow. The toxic green. I just love this green. And then aqua shock blue and electric purple. So if you're into brights and you want some minis to play with, here you go. I think this would make excellent socks, like the Pixel Rise socks by Kemper Ray. I think these would make wonderful Pixel Rise socks with just really bright colors. Okay, so that is everything that will be going up in the shop this week. Again, the update is going to be Friday the 21st at 6 p.m. And I hope you find something that you like. Lastly, I will have another update, but it won't be until after my show on the 29th. So it'll be that, most likely be that first Friday in May. But I will let you know about that closer to the time. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope the sun is shining, and I hope you are enjoying yarny things. And with that, I will talk to you next week. Bye.